Have you settled the score about the drop chain?
No, it's written down.
It's Baden Cook. I completely forgot about Baden Cook.
He forgot about
I think it's a bit surprised that I won. It's not many occasions where you actually set a plan and they actually come off.
Hearing that from him, gives me goosebumps.
Cadell Evans cannot be beaten now.
This is the first time I hear Stewie and Andy's side of the story.
And I took a cab home in the Magna Rosa, and the cab driver did not believe me. That was actually the pink jersey. Why the hell would you be in my cab?
What I've learned through my life is everything is just a phase,
It's a real pleasure for me to be able to come back and jump on here with you guys because I admire what you do. I really do.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Detour podcast. I'm your host, Dan Jones, and it's really refreshing because Johnny Trevorrow is having mic issues at the moment. So I think we're going to have a clear run, at least at the start of the episode. We're joined by an all-star cast. We've got Matt White, obviously from Team Jayco Alula, Gerry Ryan, the owner of Team Jayco Alula, and Phil Liggett, the voice of cycling. Welcome to the show, fellas. We'll start off with you, Gerry. You've had a big day, mate. Couple of winners at Pakenham as well over the other side of the world.
Yes, it was a great to see a point in the pen, first run over the jumps and won by 9 lengths, and then Stern Ivel by in the last. So I got top and tail, and I think he won by some 20 lengths. So I got woken up by Sam Kekovich this morning, very excited. I said, as long as you remember me in the acceptance speech, Sam, because Sam takes over, as you know. Very big personality. So him and Leon Wiegard were there today to pick up the trophy.
Well, Whitey, how's the mood in the camp? It's obviously a different finish to the Tour de France this year. Finishing in Nice with the Olympics on and finishing on a time trial. Does it feel a little bit weird, given that the routine of so many tours is broken?
It certainly does, Jonesy. Because and I can't remember. Phil will probably be able to tell us when the last time the race didn't finish on the Champs-Élysées. But when you finish in the one location, 1975. So it's when you have the same location for such a long period of time. That's as old as I am. So since as long as I've been born, they've been finishing in Paris, and it does feel strange because, unlike the Giro, where you have different finishes in Rome or Milan, this is really, really been an iconic finish in Paris. And it feels like the end of the Tour de France, but it definitely has a different feeling. One, because it's a time trial, and two, because we're in a location that we've never been finished the Tour de France in the last 50 years before.
Well, Dan, if it's anything like last night, I've never seen such big crowds. They had a drone show, which was spectacular. So the place was certainly jumping last night with music, drone shows, fireworks. So I think if that could continue today, Nice should be very proud of how they put it on.
Well, you must have good memories with seeing time trial bikes in and around Nice, Gerry, because it was 11 years ago now, the famous team time trial.
It was, but it was great to see on a few billboards around the town the photograph of the boys. So I was very proud to come back 11 years later. So no pressure on you, Whitey, today and Yatesy, but who knows?
Well, we're going to try and bring Iffy in now. Johnny Trevorrow, can you hear us? No, his mic's still gone. So he's back in the sin bin. Trying to get his mics on. She's going to have fun with this. Phil Liggett, how's the tour been for you? I saw interviews after the finish yesterday where they were asking other riders, what's to go with Pog? Doesn't like to share his toys.
No, he's a killer. Let's face it, the Axon instinct. He said before the start, no, he wasn't interested in winning the stage. So what's he do? He marks every move. And while he leaves the fight for second place, and then they blew away Remco, win anyway, just for the heck of it. I mean, the guy's an absolute phenomenon, and he's the best cyclist in the world. Simple as that. He can do it all.
How does that reshape, Whitey, given the dominance of the Pog? And then, you've got obviously Vingegaard, Remco. They're obviously the top echelon with the GC. A lot of teams sort of moving forward going to be going, well, what's the strategy on how to attack these guys?
Well, obviously, mate, it changes race to race. If you're talking about just the Tour de France, but what you've got to do and what we've been doing is we can control what we can control, and that's our tactics and the way that we ride. We can't control what they ride. Okay, the other day when Yates was up the road, we had to put him in a position to give him the best opportunity to win. What comes from behind or what other tactics from other teams, we can't control that. So when you've got to look for opportunities, you've got to have a bit of calculated guess of which of the stages that you think that they might not be as interested in. But this year has been a very, very dominant performance, and I don't remember, and I think he's the favourite for today as well. And I don't remember off the top of my head a GC rider winning 6 stages in the Tour de France before. So yes, for sure, it's frustrating because we all want to win. But you can only control your team, the riders that you've got in front of you at the moment, and the tactics that you employ.
Gerry, what's been one of the key differences you've seen sort of in the last 5 years? We've talked about early on the show, nutrition and the sports science, and you're obviously involved with a number of different sporting organisations, but are you seeing it really evolve recently, particularly in cycling, with all these marginal gains and things that teams are doing now?
Well, certainly, the last 5 years, there's bigger budgets, and with that, it's not just it's adding the sports science in from nutrition to sleeping, and the extra. You look at a mechanic's truck when we first started to what it is today. Just trying to get those marginal gains on the opposition, but you also certainly need the talent, and but what's also changed is the development of talent. Rather than just wait for a rider, now we're all out doing developing riders through creating a pathway into the team through development of the younger riders and trying to snatch them while they're a bit younger.
And how does that process go? Because we talked even a couple of years ago, a lot of the young guys are getting signed up just based on data. What are the key things you look for when you're trying to sign a new rider to Jayco moving forward?
Well, it's not just riders; it's in any business or sport that you look at. I think 50% character, and that character is going to fit into your culture, and 50% talent. You can develop talent or improve talent, but you certainly can't transplant character. And most important, that they can fit into the culture that you're trying to develop in the team. It's not just an individual. It's as we all know, it's a team sport, and it's very important that they get on well with their teammates and respect what the culture you developed within the team.
We're going to have another crack. Johnny, you there? Yeah, no good. Your mic is still dead. Well, Phil Liggett, you've rejoined us, mate.
Yeah, there's a lag in the system today, mate. Anyway, I'm back. Yeah.
We were just chatting before about how the sport has really evolved in particularly the last 5 years with nutrition. We talked about that on earlier podcasts. But how have you rated the race this year? Obviously, the POG's been so dominant, Phil, in the GC side of things, but it has been pretty open in terms of, stage winners, different sprints. Binim Gamay is a great story. What are some of the key highlights for yourself?
It's incredible. I always write the end of the show for NBC, which is 2 minutes long. And, it's a recap of the whole 3 weeks of racing. This was impossible for me to restrict to just 2 minutes to explain 3 weeks of incredible Tour de France in every way. I mean, it started incredible. First time ever from Italy, first time arrival in Nice, first guy from Eritrea to win the stage, and then he wins 3. First time for the guy to win the green jersey from Eritrea. Then Cav gets his record stage win. A surprise win by a surprise yellow jersey going to Carapaz. And then the arrival of Pog very early on over the Col de Glibier. And then it went on and on and on. A first all the time. Even when Pog got the yellow jersey on his shoulder, I thought, well, that's it. He's going to take it to the finish, and he has done. But it's been so interesting. The racing has just been incredible. This race, on from the gun, and the company, the riders. Even yesterday, the riders hit each other in the hope that they could get something out of this tour. I mean, there's only a couple of teams finishing with all 8 men. It's been too much to write about, and I've enjoyed calling every day of racing. And when they're going through the mountains, 100 miles through the mountains, and they're doing it in 4 hours, it's incredible. So yeah, this race has had everything. I've loved it, and it's gone really well. Except I don't know if you can see it on camera. I started the tour with a spider bite. Well, calling the last kilometre 2 days ago, I burst a blood vessel in my eye, getting too excited. And that's bright red. I don't know if you can see it, but yesterday the doctor came. They got the doctor from the race to come and have a look at it, and all he wanted was a blinking photograph. I said, "Have a check on the eye, mate, to see how it's going." Oh, he said it's fine. He said you'll finish the tour, and he's just a great guy. So this has been a wonderful tour. I've loved every minute of it. And I've loved. It was great to see Simon come back to his form after his early sickness, and we talked a lot about him on the television, and he's looked like his old self again, riding through those mountains. It was good stuff.
How have you rated the tour this year, Whitey? Obviously, there's been a couple of stages that's been pretty close to getting multiple stage wins for the teams, but what have been the key takeaways for yourself?
Yeah, mate, I think every team's had to deal with their own story. All these grand tours, every team's got a story, every athlete's got a story. But I think the most important thing is how you deal with it day to day. And you've been part of this team for a long time, Jonesy, and you know how
You there, mate? He's just dropped out. It's all happening today, Phil.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah.
I take it, has Jerry left us now?
Jerry's got a blank screen. His audio's not working, and unfortunately, Matt White has frozen on us. And
he's quite good looking when he's frozen, though, isn't he?
I think he was going to give me a rap. So I was ready for him to just keep talking, but the algorithm has obviously shut it down. So then there was 2, Phil. That's all we've got left at the moment.
2, but hey, we're going to make Nice, I'll tell you. It's only 20 minutes ride down the road.
I'll try Iffy again. Can you hear us, John? No, your audio's not working. You got to click on settings.
Can hear you.
Yeah, I think that mic's just about toast. This is just one of the all-time classic detour episodes. What we might do, Phil, have you got a bit more time, Phil? Jerry's back.
Jerry's back, yeah.
All right. Well, I know you guys are pretty tight with your schedules, but a couple of quick ones, Jerry. What are the key takeaways? Obviously, there's always going to be a review at the end of a tour or any of the big races. But what are the key takeaways for yourself from what you've seen at the tour this year for your team?
It's great to see it's evened out a little bit more the number of teams that certainly won a stage, which is great. It's tough out there, and you've got 8, 9 teams trying to win sprint stages, and you might see a little bit more of that if GC's too hard. So you'll see a few more teams with sprinters as we are, but. As Phil said, a lot of first this tour, and it's been a great tour, and I'm sure that today in Nice they're going to put on another great performance. It's going to be different. Just seeing individual riders come in and how the crowd see that, I'm not quite sure, but it's been a great tour, and we look forward to 2025.
And also not far around the corner is the Olympics. Luke Plapp, Michael Matthews, got a couple of big chances in there as well.
Yes, Michael's he's focused on winning a gold, and he's G'd up for it, and we look forward to hopefully an Australian winning gold medal in next week, a week and a bit.
Good stuff, mate. And before we let you go, this is also a period where teams are talking to other riders and they're trying to negotiate deals for next year. Can you break any news on the detour, mate? Any particular riders that you're looking at?
Oh, we're always looking for riders, and it'll be a few depart the team, but I'll leave that to Whitey. They don't get me involved in those decisions, mate. Right.
Good stuff, mate. Well, enjoy Nice. As we said, it brings back some great memories from 11 years ago. That was a day that we'll definitely never forget.
Never. Have a good one, guys, and hopefully Phil, and no doubt I'm catching up with Whitey, that we bump in for a little drink later on in the day. Catch you
I hope
guys.
so, Jerry. Trish is here, so
Terrific. Well, I'll
she'll
be in
come
touch.
looking for you. Where are you pitched? Around the finish line?
Yeah. I'll send the details.
Okay, thanks, mate.
All the best. Catch you.
No worries. Cheers,
Bye.
Jerry. All right, Phil. Well, before we wrap things up, who's your predictions for today? Is the pod going to share his toys, or is he just going to go for it?
It's a course it could make him go for another win, isn't it? 6 wins, unbelievable, and to ride and win in the yellow jersey. But remember, when we last had a time trial finish, the man in the yellow jersey lost the Tour. Laurent Fignon beaten in the end by Greg LeMond by 8 seconds in the overall classification after LeMond took it out in the time trial. That's not going to happen, of course it's not. But the Pog he doesn't like to be called a cannibal. That's what he is really, but it isn't. He's just an unbelievable bike racer. He loves to race. The reason nobody can beat him is he's instinctive. He does not particularly ride to attack at that point, like somebody like Eddie Merckx might have done. He just says, "Oh, that looks all right. I'll see if they're strong," and he has a go. Checks over his shoulder immediately, see if he makes any progress. If he does, he keeps going. If he doesn't, he waits for another time. But I love the battle yesterday. I love the arrival of Remco Evenepoel into the Tour now. This kid's got a lovely personality. He believes in himself. He tries the moves, and if he blows, he blows. And yesterday, from looking like he was going to finish second in the Tour, he laid his plans. He attacked. They were answered by Vingegaard, who seems to be looking like his old self again yesterday. And in the end, he lost a minute. So instead of getting closer so he could perhaps take the lead in the time trial for second place, he's now no chance of getting second place, but he will finish third, yeah. Well, no, this tour just had just about everything. And I think sometimes we say this every year, it's a great tour, but it's never the same race twice. People say, why have you been on the tour for 52 years? I said, because I've never seen the same race twice. And I think that's pretty true.
I've got a couple of live comments. Simon Knoll says, 2 absolute legends of Australian cycling. Watch every stage, and Jaco have never given up. Wendy Superfan, hi Dan, Phil, Matt, and John. Well, Johnny's in the background because his mic's not working. Chris Stapleton says, hello from Ocala, Florida, USA. Always enjoy your show. Keep up the good work. And Wendy Superfan says, Tour de France, not the same without the competition for the finish line. The parade from start, then down the Champs. No excitement watching one by one coming into the finish and waiting for the winner to be announced.
Sorry, I think Wendy's right. I mean, I've got to go out. Yesterday, we were stuck in a freight terminal doing our commentary from Nice, but outside Nice airport, actually. It wasn't quite the place for a stand-up, I'll tell you, but we found a couple of manky-looking palm trees and stood them behind the back. But today we're on the finish line, and very few people are. Only the privileged commentators get, because there isn't the space down there to set the whole thing up. But Nice, as Gerry Ryan said earlier, has turned on the style. They've done such a great job, and this is a major jam-packed city in the month of July. You can't move around. The cars they're worse than Los Angeles on the workday. But I think there's no reason to say it won't. It'll be back in Paris next year. But I understand they couldn't put on the Olympic Games a few days after the end of the Tour de France because all the facilities in Paris have to be prepared. And so it had to be somewhere else this year. But next year, I think it'll be status quo. And like Wendy said just there, we'll go back to the Champs-Élysées, I'm sure.
Now, why did we cut you off before your phone dropped out when you were talking about the takeaways from the Tour de France this year?
Yeah, mate, I don't know where I cut out and what I was saying in the middle of the cutout, but no, I think it's every team's had their own story and their own diversity, their own things that they've had to deal with, and I think just real proud of the guys at the way they've got it done. They've committed. All things haven't gone as we would have planned, but you come in with really, really high ambitions, but all you can ask of the athletes is to give 100%, and the boys have done that. We've had some illnesses. I know every team has, but you've got to move on quickly, refocus, and work with the athletes that you've got in the state that they're in, and get the most out of them. And I think we've done our best to get the most out of the guys, and the guys have certainly put in 100% and done whatever has been asked of them every day. We can always do things better, because we want to be a better team. We want to get things right. But the guys and the support around the guys has been very, very high level, and just proud of the boys and the way that they have gone about the month.
We tried to ask Gerry, because John needs some quotes for an article he's writing for tomorrow in the paper, to give us a scoop. Who are the riders? It's a busy period now, but who are the riders you're looking to sign up for next year? And he did the old Bendigo handball, mate. He said, I don't get involved with that. That don't involve me. You'll have to talk to Whitey. I know you can't name names, but what sort of profile are you looking for to boost the stocks for next year?
Sorry, mate. We won't be talking about it.
Yeah, perfect. No worries. Well, you got it. I've tried, John. Your audio wasn't working, but I suppose, like, when in the nuts and bolts of it, you do have the edge in that you can see young emerging talent through Australia. I know there's obviously pathway programs with, what Matty Wilson and co have set up with the ARA team, and I think they've been over in Europe trying to get some results as well. But is it pretty difficult?
We sponsor Axel Merckx's
development team
with Axion. So those guys have been around. Those guys have been around a long time, and Axel's done a very, very good job over a long period of time, and a lot of guys have passed through that team over the years. Almeida, Phillipson, Teo Guggenhardt. There's a lot of guys that passed through there as in his development team, and the relationship is going really well. It's the first year this year, and that's going to be the future for us, is to get the kids into our system early, and then it's the best way. It's the best way to work out someone's character, and it will, because if they don't come from a development team, you've got to do a lot more research into people, and whereas if they're in your own team, we have a great relationship with Axel and his crew, and they're the ones working with them day in, day out. So they're an extension of our team now, and I think that's definitely the future of our sport. And I think if you'd asked me 5 years ago, 5 years ago we're looking at under 25, under 23s, and now you're even looking at juniors, because everyone wants to get the next best young talent, and it's just getting younger and younger, and that's been a big change in our sport. That young guys are actually capable of doing big results early. I think probably the best way to put that why is because I think the young athletes are getting exposed to best practice earlier and earlier, as in coaching and nutrition and psychology and equipment, and that's why guys are developing quicker. 20, 25 years ago, people would just, when I was a young kid, you'd just be going training, wouldn't you? There wasn't a lot of science when I was 14, 15 into the training. Some people were doing too much training, some people were doing too little training. It was a lot more hit and miss, and people used to race to get fit. And those sort of days are finished now. But it's a lot more specific. The training camps at altitude, and that's filtered down all the way down to juniors. So I think that's been the big game changer in our sport in the last 5 years.
Is one of the tricky parts, though. A lot of these young kids are getting managers really early, and then you get managers involved. And we talked about it a bit when Tinkoff come on the scene, and all the figures got inflated and blown out. Very hard for the median wage in cycling to drop down. Is it still relatively fair, or is it still inflating year after year and getting harder to work within a budget?
It's never easy, but it's just a challenge, isn't it? It's just a challenge that all teams have. Football, European football was a very different sport 10 years ago as well, wasn't it? Or 20 years ago, it was a completely different sport. It's a sport and business, they all evolve. You've just got to be able to adapt with it.
I've got a live comment for both of you guys, or for Matt specifically. Troy Collett says, what does Matt think of the Netflix series?
To be honest, I haven't watched the full series this year. My two sons did, I think, as soon as it came out. But I think I watched the first 2 episodes before I headed off to a race. But I haven't seen all the episodes yet. But I did for the first 2 episodes. For the first 2 episodes I see, I think it was put together. It was better this year's start of this than last year. Last year's one, and I think look, those series are quite hard because when you're talking about a 3-week race, you don't know what the story is. You know, they're around these teams, they're shooting everything, and then the story evolves in front of them. You know, whereas I think with F1, when that's a whole season, it's probably easier to tell a story over a 10-month period than 3 weeks. But no, I think it's great for the sport. And you know, for example, I didn't follow F1 or have a clue about F1 before the Netflix series, and I think as you know, Jonesy, people's personalities. Anyone can watch television. Anyone can see the race on television, whatever sport it is. But I think behind the scenes and getting to know real people is exciting for people, and it just certainly brings another element to any sport.
One of the things I thought of is like it's very hard because they've obviously signed up for full access, and that's obviously challenging because, you know, when riders are tired and so forth. And just flashback to that story when there was a crew filming Green Edge, and they weren't sort of kosher in the last week about where they were placing mics and so forth. I think one of the boys found a mic in a like one of the centerpieces on the dinner table, and Albacini grabbed it and then screamed into it. And then in the bushes, they could see a guy with the head cans just falling out of the bushes. That's one of the great stories I heard with production companies. Have you had a chance to see any of it, Phil? Too busy.
Yeah, I watched it because there was a lot of good insight for the upcoming Tour de France and on the personalities of the riders. Yeah, it was a pretty good show for non-sporting consumption as well, which is the whole point of it. You could see the other side of the riders. They're all nice when they answer the questions on the mic, and as soon as they get in the bush, they're effing and blinding, throwing the shoes around, saying, "God damn it, I should have done that. I got switched in the spin." They're, of course, things they don't say on the microphone. I don't blame them, of course. And a lot of that went into the show. And I know Tom Pidcock wasn't too pleased with the addition, things that he was saying, you know, and being put on screen. But it gave us an insight into the personalities. Ben O'Connor particularly, saw both sides of Ben, who doesn't say much out on the road there. He lets his legs do the talking, but you could see, you know, he's a different boy when he was behind the scenes. Yeah, it was. I didn't see the last one. I got to the one from the end, and I had to come to the Tour de France, so I didn't see the last episode. I'll watch it when I go home, maybe. But they're not here this year, I guess. I've never seen anybody, so I think that's it for the series.
I don't want to give away the ending of the series, but Vinegar wins.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Oh, well, so he's not going to win this year. So he'll be second this year. Talking of bingo, what is it? We you know, we're pulling the guy apart, and he's had this horrendous accident about 7 weeks before he pins the number on for the Tour de France. He gets back to the condition to finish second. He cries every day because he can't win, and he finally announces his defeat. This guy is an extraordinary person. And in the tours he's ridden, his worst place is second. And we still try to find reason to think, well, that's not good enough. That's crazy. This guy he's without doubt the most famous sportsman Denmark has ever had. He's contributed to half the crowd, are Danish, coming over. We're talking to so many Danish people this year. They love him. And all you can do is give your best. And he's give every inch of his best. And because he actually believed, even when he was losing time, he'd get the day when he get it all back. And then he realized 2 days ago he couldn't do it. And then he said, I can't win the Tour this year. I think it's been a terrific Tour for that reason. We have brought together, I think, 3 of the best athletes in the world, with Remco included as well, because his attitude is such a good attitude to the game. And I've really enjoyed these guys. They shake hands every time they cross the line. And Pogacar has said, he told us, yes, he rides instinctively. When you ask him his plan, he said, I haven't got one. And he's not telling lies, I don't think. He just knows where he might go, but you see how he feels. And yet these guys now going forward as the finest athletes in the world and the best of friends. And I think that's fantastic.
Couple before we go, Whitey, do you think this just sets a huge bar now that Pog's going to do the double? The Giro, the Tour, because, for 20 years we said, you just can't do it. You just can't pull up and have form at the Tour if you've won the Giro.
Yeah, look, it's a pretty incredible feat. It's not since 1998 this has been done, but I think a lot of things when you try to attempt the double, and people have tried in the past, you need also a little bit of luck in cycling in general, but in the Giro, I think to start with weather, I think because weather has such a big effect on the Giro. If you have a Giro that's you get real cold weather, snow, or maybe 10 days of rain, all those little things, that has a big effect on how you come out of the Giro as well. And then also one thing that you can't control is the course. So it's never going to be easy to do the double. But we've got a very special athlete on our hands, and to win 6 stages in the Giro, and if you can win today 6 stages in the Tour de France, it's an incredible feat. But I still don't think that many people will attempt it because it is extremely hard. It's extremely hard. I think we've seen Chris Froome in the past do the Tour and Vuelta double, but the Giro has that different element due to where it sits on the calendar, and even we've found over the last 10 years that the winter is getting longer, as in the seasons feel like they've shifted back a little bit, and a lot of the passes, the Giro passes, really only just are opening up when the race is starting. So you are in the hands of the weather gods at the Giro, whereas the Tour, if anything, the biggest thing you've got to worry about is excessive heat, which has also been quite a mild Tour de France on that front this year as well. So it's been an incredible effort. It's not done yet, but no, I still don't think, Jonesy, that the double will be attempted by too many people. It's not. I don't think it'll become a regular thing.
Yeah. All right, boys. Last couple of live comments. Zippy7 says Poggy needs to complete the Triple Crown this year. It's a shame they don't offer some crazy bonus like they used to do in the USE. What was it? Those crits? The Triple Crown. Like if they put up 10 mil.
3 one-day races.
Yeah.
3 one-day races. Yeah. Yeah. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit different winning 3 one-day races than 3 Grand Tours.
I reckon.
Now, the Pog's already said he's not riding in Spain. He could have the Olympic gold, though. You never know.
Yeah. And Zippy also says, have to say the Netflix stuff doesn't quite compare to the backstage pass. No, call me maybe. I'd have to agree, Zippy. Massive budgets, but just not the same. Before we let you go, John wants to do some sign language. John, what's sign language for thanks for joining us?
He's frustrated then.
Oh, mate. Yeah, no, you can't hear him. It's been a cracking episode. Last question. Predictions for the stage, Phil?
I think the Pog might win it. It's got this second category.
She's going out on a limb.
Yeah, I think, it's a second category. I would love Remco to win.
Yeah.
And he's a great time charge, but it might be too hard up the hill for him. If the Pog gets that little gear spinning, he could win this time trial.
And what about yourself, Whitey?
Yeah, it's hard to go past. I think if it was a more that profile does not do the time trial justice. That is a hard time trial. I think if the time trial was flatter, I would maybe lean a little bit more towards Remco. But I think with the form that Tadej has shown, I really can't see him being beaten.
And what's the final sign-off plans tonight, Whitey? Normally there's a nice dinner in Paris and things around the Champs-Elysees. And then back in the day I used to love slipping into the duplex in that sweat box down there and in the Champs-Elysees, off the Champs-Elysees. But what have they got planned in Nice?
Yeah, we'll after we finish, because obviously we're going from Monaco to Nice, come back here. Some of the partners and families are here as well, and then we'll all scoot back into the city and have a dinner all together tonight in a different location. I think today, it's not Paris, but I think it will be spectacular today. I think it really will be. It's something different, and it feels strange because the only time I'm ever here is Paris-Nice, and it's not quite as warm in March. But I think it'll be a spectacular way to finish off the Tour de France. And like always, it's been a long journey for everyone involved, not just the bike riders, bike teams, but everyone who works on the tour. And it's always special when you finish any Tour de France, isn't it, Phil?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's no big town hall celebration. They used to all go to the town hall in the old days and get a medal off the mayor of Paris. That doesn't happen anymore now. The guys just disappear in the groups, reflect on what has happened, enjoy their own company. Some get a boat down the Seine. That's not going to happen here. You can have a trip across to Corsica if you like on the Med. That's quite a long way. It's everybody just drifts away. It's a bit of an anticlimax. All the relationships that are made over the 3 weeks and the friendships, and then you wake up tomorrow morning, and it's all gone. In my case, I'm going to Paris for the Olympic Games, and I guess you're going to Paris, Whitey?
I'm not. No, I'm not, mate. No. I'm not. I'll be cheering on. the Aussies from the couch at home. My next race, I'm going to the Women's Tour de France in a couple of weeks' time.
Okay, well, I'll commentate the last 2 days of that, so I'll watch out for your team. They're riding pretty well too. So I'm literally going back to my own home in London for 6 hours, change my suitcase, and go up to Paris by Eurostar, and then I'm interviewing Cadel Evans on Channel 9 on Wednesday in the shadow of the Arc de Triomphe. Not sure I should have told you that. It might be a confidence, but I am. Yeah.
Our numbers, you should be fine.
You'll have fun. It'll be great. It'll enjoy Paris, mate. It'll be a special one, special games.
I think so. There's only one Paris, and there's only one Cadel who won on the hallowed cobblestones of the Champs-Elysees. So it'll be nice to speak again. Yeah.
The last plug I've got to get in, Johnny's just sent me a text. He wants everyone to know. Email him, john@cyclingevents.com.au. He's going to be back. I reckon it could be his final Tour de France, possibly. Hand signals, John, yes. Where the detour is going to go back for one last lap around France. It's going to be 20 years since we did the Detour de France movie. Wow. And if he's reserving some limited spots, and they're going to be in weeks. So you can either do week 1, week 2, or week 3. And it's going to be a cracker. So, and it will finish at the Champs-Elysees. So back to normal routine, but really appreciate you guys coming on the podcast throughout the Tour de France, guys, and giving you insights. I definitely know all the viewers and listeners have really appreciated it. So have a great day today, and good luck, and we'll check in again soon.
Look forward to it. All the best, Whitey, for the end of the tour, mate, and enjoy.
Yeah, thank you.
Tonight, and I might see you down the finish. They got me shut in my little box again. I don't see anybody. I don't know why I come on the tour. Anyway,
because you love it. Because you love it, Phil, as we all do.
Of course, yeah. And this has been a particularly good one. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, White. Thanks, Jono.
Have a good day. Have a good. See you, Phil. See you, John. See you, Iffy.
Well done.
No worries. See you, boys.
Mate, we absolutely cranked that. Fair dinkum. I haven't heard that good a voice out there since Barnesy days, mate. Barnesy. Mate, John Farnham. Like a kiddie house, mate. We smashed it, ripped it up. God, that was good.